Can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't control what's going to happen, but you can control how you react to what happens. So that's a big thing we did as an elite athlete. You had to consider every situation because you right. You stood on the starting line, and the horn's about to go off. You're very nervous. So how do you calm down those nerves? And it's about being there in that place with no regrets. And what I mean by that is that you have as much control as possible. You've done all your training, you're swimming, you're cycling, running, you've done all your equipment, you've checked out the course, you've checked out. I mean, I used to rehearse every single thing. So in triathlon, there's a big thing between a transition. So when you come out of the water, you've got your wetsuit on, and you have to take your wetsuit off as quickly as possible. Then you put your number on, your helmet on, your shoes on, you get off on your bike. So that's called transition. It takes maybe 20, 30 seconds. I used to practice that a lot. I used to do it in the garden. I used to get dressed in my wetsuit, put my feet in some paddling pool water, and then I used to start my watch, and I used to run around the garden while taking my wetsuit off as quick as I could, put it in a box, grab my bike, and when I grabbed my bike, I stopped my watch, and it's like 25 seconds. I go, okay, and then I do it again, put my wetsuit back on, and over and over and over again. It's about having that muscle memory. It's about having that satisfaction that you've practiced that as much as you can, so that when it comes to the race, the event, you don't even have to think about it. There's always a big conversation of, oh, how did your transition go? How did it go? And I used to say, I have no idea. I don't know, because it went perfectly well. It wasn't a big thing of the race because I had control. One of the things that I remember practicing swimming. So there's always you always have these fears. What if? So once you're swimming, what if your goggles leak? What are you going to do? I don't know. So you could stop and try and empty them out. You could put them on your head. You could put them on your chin, or you could just throw them away. Try and swim without goggles. What do you do? So it's a thing that you're not in control of. And to say your goggles leak, as in you might get punched or kicked in the face. That's how what happens. So I used to practice that. I used to practice when I would go swimming. I used to put some water in my goggles and try and do certain things. And I worked out that if I put them up my head, which would be the obvious thing, there was a stream, and it was actually worse swimming with your goggles on your head. If I tried to empty them and put them back on, sometimes that worked, but I lost so much time. And you're in a race trying to, beat the best of the best. The other one was put them around my neck, and that worked. And I'd end up swimming the rest of the thing with no goggles, and I could do that. It wasn't as good, but that was the best option, either down by my chin or just rip them off and throw them away. I didn't really want to do that because they were my favorite goggles, and they're like 20 pounds. So I used to put them down by the neck. I never ever had to do that in a race, but I knew what to do when that happened.
Yeah, okay.
It's the same with cycling. What do you do when you get a puncture? What do you do when the chain comes off? Well, I don't know. Let's practice it. And the more you practice it in your training rides, the more confident you feel that if this happens in a race, I've got a little bit of control because I'm going to blitz it. I know what to do. So the more things you can practice, the more adversities you experience, the more challenges and changes, the better you use it.